Good morning, everyone. We are back with more Barnstable this morning. I'm Sarah Colvin, and joining me live in studio, I welcome our town manager, Mark Ells. Mark, good morning.
Good morning, Sarah. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
It was a hot weekend, that's for sure.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
and,
That's as hot as I can remember
absolutely.
on the Cape, certainly.
Definitely, and for an extended period of time, too. I think the heat index yesterday on the Village Green was 104.
Oh, well, I believe it.
Which was pretty sweltering. Of course, thousands of people came down for Pops by the Sea. A lot of people waited until the Pops concert actually began at 5 to come down to the Village Green, and I don't blame them because it was just beating down sun on the green.
Well, I heard that, and I heard that it all went well, with the exception of the heat. But our emergency responders were out there, so if anybody was, overcome by that, I heard that, they were able to address that, but kept everybody safe, and everybody had a great time, and we certainly appreciate all the work of all the volunteers that are involved and our staff in making this happen. It's such an important event for our community and for the Cape, and we just love having it here out on the green.
It's a great thing for Hyannis.
It certainly is.
I love seeing the green transform too, and everybody
Yes.
on there. It just seems so much bigger than it does when you look at it every day.
And for the size of the event, it's amazing that it flows so well, and everybody just enjoys.
And has a good time.
Yes.
Let's talk, Mark, a little bit about the plastic bag ordinance. I know we on Barnstable this morning have talked a little bit with Director of Regulatory Services, Richard Scally, about this. Certainly something that is kind of happening on a national scale. A couple of other Cape towns have done this plastic bag ban. So tell me a little bit about your take on this and what it means for businesses and for consumers here in Barnstable.
Well, the broad picture, and it was interesting, one of my daughter's friends was over from England, and one of our topics of discussion while she was here, she actually gave my daughter Elizabeth a tote bag that they use for groceries. And so that evolved. She's a mechanical engineering student, so that evolved into a discussion about what they're doing with plastic bags. And she said, well, they've banned them. And our community, there was a lot of, people were upset about it. And so you can actually get bags, but you have to pay for them. So she said, once they said, okay, yeah, you can have plastic, but you have to pay for every bag, that was it. Nobody uses it anymore. And she brought this tote over. So certainly bringing it right home, these bags are in our waste stream. They've evolved over time. They're not easy to recycle. They're unsightly when not disposed of properly. Certainly we all see them blowing on the sides of the road. We here in Barnstable have always been a leader in looking at recycling and appropriate methods of disposal, looking at where we're going nationally, statewide and locally on different bands of materials. These very thin, it's under 3 mLs. So typically the stuff that you saw at grocery stores,
sure. Some
of the wraps that might be used, we've banned those. And on October 3rd, the official ban is in place. Going forward from there, you need to have filed a waiver form if you want to ask for a hardship. Why this will be a hardship to your business has to be by October 3rd. If it's not by October 3rd, then you are expected to be compliant with this. And you can spell out what it is that you believe to be creating the hardship here. I know we shop at stores that have never used bags. I know we shop at stores now that are giving us paper bags, and then I know that we shop at stores that still have the plastic bags. So it's just interesting to see how we'll progress through this. Our Regulatory Services Department will review those requests for extensions, and it would be up to 12 months if granted. The final signature will be the town manager's signature on that. So please, if you're going to ask for that, get it in by October 3rd.
And I really have noticed some stores kind of already preparing for that. A lot of if I buy one thing, they're like, well, do you need a bag? And I always appreciate that. I'm happy to put it in my purse or just carry it out. It's not, you don't always need to have that bag. Carry the reusable totes in your car. I know I've done that for months and I always forget to take them out, but now I've been a little bit more conscious about using that reusable bag. So are there any particular criteria for getting the extension? Do you have to prove a hardship? Perhaps, you ordered thousands of these bags and it's going to be a loss for you, or is
Right,
it
we'll
gonna
be practical in the application. We want to see this fully implemented within the 12 months. If there's no reason for you not to do it now, then you'll be expected to do it now. If you have a legitimate reason why you're asking for this, it'll be considered, and we'll grant it.
Excellent.
Yeah, we want to work with our businesses, and we've heard from them, but it's one of these behavior modifications. It's interesting. It'll be my generation that may have the harder time, because when I speak with younger people, they're kind of looking at me saying, well, why haven't we done this a long time ago?
Right.
So it's very interesting how each generation will, you become accustomed to something, and then you've got to modify behavior to be able to no longer do that. And it's a very interesting learning process.
Yeah, the younger folks a little more environmentally conscious, say, or
Well, I think they're used to these sorts of issues, and that's all.
Absolutely. So that's going into effect October 3rd, and would you recommend people with questions? I know there's a great kind of PR campaign going on our website, the Barnstable Bags
There
It,
is.
and then they can contact regulatory services,
Yes.
correct? Excellent. Mooring regulation changes, of course. Moorings, lots of moorings here in town. Lots of people on the waiting list for moorings as well. What are we looking at in terms of some changes to those regulations?
Well, we have a hearing coming up on September 1st, 10 a.m., town manager hearing for these regs. Again, these regs fall under the town manager. Yeah, and really, we're just, the regs are in place so we have safe, efficient use of our moorings. The regs themselves look at who the permit is issued to. There's some slight modification there. They're looking at some of the fees associated with it. They're specifically the general fees and a new transfer fee. And that's the majority of it. That's really the focus of it. But we'll post this online. I may be posted already, but very shortly it'll be posted so people can take a look at this. And please send a letter or come to the hearing, whatever is the best means for you to communicate with us about these proposed changes.
Great, and that hearing is September 1st at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Which, when I say September, feels like a long way away, but really it's not very far away at all.
Not at all.
Did hear, Mark, unfortunately, some sad news over the weekend. Our former interim superintendent of school, longtime legal counsel, Bill Butler, has passed away.
He did, yes, and certainly, on a personal note, my thoughts and prayers are with his wife and his daughters and his family. Bill was a very dedicated public servant, worked with our schools department when we were in a mode of change. He stepped up and filled a critical role for the town, and Bill will be missed.
He absolutely will. Well, Mark, thank you so much, as always, for joining us here on Barnstable this morning, and we will catch up with you again. Actually, no, next week, it'll be 2 weeks. Next week, we're going to show you got to be interviewed by our intern, and that was a great interview, so we're looking forward to sharing that with our viewers next Monday.
It was great. I really enjoyed what a bright young lady, and it was exciting to be interviewed by her. So
absolutely,
yeah.
And her name's Sarah too. Go figure.
That's right.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. I'm Mark Ells, of course, our town manager. Our superintendent of schools, Meg Mayo Brown, is next. But first, let's find out if those fish are biting. Captain Gary Brown has today's Barnstable This Morning fishing report.